Today on With the First Pick, the NFL trade deadline is officially in the books. November 4th is behind us. So naturally, we're doing a mock draft with my guy, Rand Carthon here. I'm Ryan Wilson. That's former Titans GM Rand Carthon. Before we get going here, Rand, there are 169 days until the 2026 NFL draft in Pittsburgh, PA. You were shaking your head side to side. Have you recovered from doing wall-to-wall NFL trade deadline coverage now that you're back in the With the First Pick Studios remote office?
I'm glad you said that. So, the IRS can hear it. When I
Joke's on them.
Yeah, I know. All is good. Like you said, man, it was a busy couple of days with trade deadline. I, for one, didn't expect all that action. So it was cool to be a part of it. And then knowing that we got this mock draft, knowing that I got to kick your ass in the mock draft, I was, contrary to popular belief, I didn't sleep on the plane last night. I was working on my mock draft. So,
oh, good. I love to see it. By the way, if you're on a plane with Rand, take a picture. If it's not a private jet, which probably is often the case, take a little photograph and let us know if he's asleep or not, or if he has his eyelids painted with eyeballs on him, pretending like he's doing his mock draft. Yeah, it's funny because we talked. I don't know if we talked yesterday, the day before. It must have been the day before. And you weren't certain that there would be a lot of commotion trade deadline wise. And then the Jets said, hey, man, watch this and let me know what you think about this stuff. So we'll talk about what's that?
No, I was saying real talk. And I commend the Jets for being able to keep those level of moves quiet.
Right.
And I feel like we've been talking about the trade deadline for the last month and a half.
At least.
And so that's why I was like, there's nothing that's surprising probably going to come because we've talked about everything. To that point, but boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen Phillips to the Eagles, like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Howie Roseman. Okay, that's not really going to affect a mock draft at the end of the day. Sauce Gardner's gone. Quinnen Williams is gone. Then you start to have taking a couple of making some double takes there. Trevor Penning left to the Chargers from the Saints. So there's some things we'll talk about as we get through this mock draft as well. Feels like 10 years ago that the Steelers traded for Kyle Duggar. That was last week. All right, Mozzie Smith also. That's the guy we talked about in the summer that needed to have a breakout year 3 or year 4 as a former first-round pick who hasn't worked out, and now he's made his way to New York and the Jets as well as part of that Cowboys trade. All right, let's get into this mock draft. Producer Stryker, happy birthday to Producer Stryker, who's, again, 28 years old this year, so way to go on that. And not a great year for Stryker Penn State-wise, but great year otherwise for him. All right, I'm picking odds. You're picking evens. New Orleans Saints are still on the clock. The fact that they traded Trevor Penning doesn't indicate anything to me other than they were going to move up from Trevor Penning after the season anyway. He has not worked out at tackle or guard, and the Chargers are in desperate need of help there. So this doesn't affect what I would do here. And we talked about this last week, and I wrote about it last week at CBSSports.com. Unless Tyler Shuck can play out of his mind, better than he has ever played, as producer Stryker intuitively goes to the quarterbacks. They're taking a quarterback if they have the first overall pick. So Fernando Mendoza, Indiana. And Rand, I'll just tell you this. I was in Stanford in the studio up there talking to our buddies Emery Hunt and Joe Musso. They both think Fernando Mendoza isn't a first-round pick. So I just immediately quit talking because I didn't want to have that conversation. It's like when your mother-in-law goes in on something that you don't necessarily think is probably for public consumption. So I said, okay. And I just kept my mouth shut. But any planet where Fernando Mendoza won't be a first-round pick this year?
No.
Okay. I just very politely shook my head and said, okay, and went about my business, put my top hat back on, put him a monocle, and moonwalked out of the room. All right, Fernando Mendoza going to the New Orleans Saints, first overall. Next up. Oh, boy. Okay, Tennessee Titans. So they don't need a quarterback.
So this is where it gets spicy. We've seen the Titans make a ton of moves, moving on from some guys, some former draft picks, some guys that they've signed in free agency. I think when I looked at it last night on the plane, I think they have 10 or 11 draft picks heading into this draft. They value top 100 picks, as do all teams. And so in the spirit of a mock draft and making things happen, Stryker, you ready? We got a trade.
Oh, you didn't tell me.
The Cleveland Browns who I have because they're an even team, are moving up to pick 2, and they're giving up a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 second-round pick. If you look at it, and if you notice, it's very, very similar to the move that Cleveland and Jacksonville made last year. It's just
hey,
one
by the way, just
up.
to be clear quickly, in case people are listening, 2026 second, 2027 first-round pick, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And so making that switch, and like I said, it's very similar to the move that the Cleveland Browns and Jacksonville Jaguars made last year. Now, this allows the Titans to pick up an extra second-round pick this year, right, which they could potentially package and move back into the first if there's a player that they covered there. But it also gives them 2 1s for 2027. And with the second pick in the draft, the Cleveland Browns select quarterback Dante Moore, Oregon.
Oh, I didn't know it was going to be Ty or Dante. So let me ask you, why Dante Moore?
I went back and forth.
Okay.
I went back and forth between the two, and I was just you can't see it. It's just right here. I was watching Ty this morning, and I like a lot of things about Ty's game, but I'm still waiting to see him complete the deep ball. At a higher clip. And I know a ton of people think, very, very highly of him. And I think he, again, if you could see my graphic that I have here in front of me, I have them both there. But when I go back and I look at it and I'm looking at accuracy, I'm looking at completion percentage, Dante Moore fits more of what Stefanski wants to do on a down-to-down basis. And so I went with Dante Moore.
Dante Moore feels like to me he's maybe a lot bigger. I think he's 6'2". We'll see exactly. Obviously, he doesn't weigh 185 or 175. A bigger, upgraded version of Bryce Young, and he's a better athlete. And Bryce is a pretty good athlete, but he has a bigger arm. He's a bigger frame kid. I think he does the thing with Bryce looking back, and I think everyone had him as QB1 for the most part. With Bryce, when you're that size, every single thing has to be perfect every single play, and if anything breaks down because you don't have Josh Allen's arm, you're not built like Lamar Jackson, you're going to suffer. And it's coming together in year 3, more so than we saw in the 2 previous years. But I feel like Dante Moore is way further down the road coming out, even though he's played less football.
Yeah, and again, his level of calm and poise to me is just really stands out.
Okay, the other thing I want to ask you about, I know it's early in the process, 2 months into the season. It certainly feels like the Browns won that trade. Travis is on IR for a little bit here, and Mason Graham's playing. They drafted Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson with one of those picks, I believe, and then they'll have another first-round pick if they want to get this quarterback. So far, so good for Cleveland.
Yeah, and it's really, if I can defend Travis, it's really no fault of Travis's.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Like they just hadn't found a way to work him in on the offense, and it just hadn't been consistent with him getting snaps on defense. So they'll figure it out in Jacksonville. I think Liam Cohen's a good coach. They'll ultimately figure it out.
I do too. I'm a big James Gladstone fan too. I don't know if you know him.
JG.
It's funny you'd had this trade because I had to do a mock draft for Monday, and I had this exact trade. I had Ty Simpson going 2. I'm very interested to see who you have going 6 because my pick at 6 was a little bit off the radar, but ultimately a home run because, I made it. Next up. That's why I said next up real quick so you couldn't say anything. All right, this is easy for me, Producer Stryker. We're on to the New York Jets, the mighty fighting Rick Spielmans, who that team is making moves, man. Sauce Gardner gone for 2 first-round picks. Quentin Williams gone for a first and a second. This team has 5 first-round picks the next 2 years. So let me ask you. Hopefully the quarterback we can't talk about named Archie Quavius is coming back. I know he's played well. I just don't want to talk about him until a year from now. So let's assume he comes back and you're in the room and you have these 5 first-round picks, 2 in 2026, 3 in 2027. If you love Ty Simpson, but you have your side eye in Arch Manning, what do you do?
Take Ty Simpson.
Okay, I think
it's simple. And real quick, shout out to Rick. If you go back and you look at Rick's history as GM when he was at the Minnesota Vikings, on 3 separate occasions, he had multiple first-round picks. And so I know he's been a real good confidant to Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn over there. So you can kind of see some of Rick's DNA on some of these moves to acquire multiple first-round picks and be able to hit on them. So shout out to you, Rick. I peeped that yesterday. I just wanted to make sure you get your flowers.
I should follow up by saying that Rick would be very angry that you were giving him recognition because he wants to blend into the background. So he's probably pulling the strings, but we'll go along with it and say, Rick, thank you just for sitting in the back of the room. He used to joke that when we would do our evaluations on this show, he would just be the scout in the corner. And I always used to joke, you're the one sitting next to the owner, bad mouthing me trying to get the GM fired. So we'll see how this works out.
Look at this dummy. He doesn't know
he was saying, he wouldn't whisper it. He would say it out loud so everyone could hear in the room. All right, next up. So Ty Simpson, in case it wasn't clear, going to the Jets. Quarterback. The first three off the board. One trade up at pick 2 there when the Browns come up and the Titans move down. Next up, the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Man, we could go a ton of different ways here. I personally think that they're going to move on from Tua at this point.
What about you're just going to eat it, the dead cap?
I mean, you have to, because think about it. A new GM is coming in. It's not his guy.
Right.
And so it's one of those situations where, they may feel like whatever they decide at head coach, whether they stick with McDaniels or they move on, it's not the new GM's mess. So just for ish and giggles, can you pull up quarterback one more time for me?
What is going on?
Can you go down to the Penn State guy?
Stop it.
I just did.
Don't do this to me. Yeah, what are you doing?
I just did that for Striker's birthday.
You were 2 seconds away from it happening. So,
happy birthday, Striker.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, because I just want to confirm for my, because I know where I want to go with this, and it's not going to be anything popular, but it's just for the Dolphins getting the best available player, which also happens to be a position of need. Let's go with Peter Woods, defensive tackle, Clemson. Now I know people are going to say, they got Kenneth Grant. Yeah, because they need more people to be able to stop the run, and they've really struggled stopping the run.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that pick for the reasons you laid out. And to your larger point, they could have gone in any number of directions. I had them taking an offensive tackle at 4 on Monday, and they could use both. All right, here's things about to get crazy, guys. Number 4.
Okay.
Number 5, excuse me. New York Giants are on the clock. Hold on to your seat, Rand.
No, I'm not buying it.
Wide receiver, Ohio State University, Carnell Tate.
I'm not. That doesn't just shock me. We had the conversation the other day. You just proven to me you don't listen to me.
You sound like your wife talking to you.
I will say in my rankings, and I've been on the Jordan Tyson train.
Yeah.
Watching Carnell Tate, I have him and Jordan Tyson at the same grade.
Okay.
And as of right now, I'm still giving Jordan Tyson the slight nod, but it's really, really close.
Is 5 too high 2 years after taking Malik Neighbors? Is an offensive line more important to protecting Jackson Dart, who doesn't want to protect himself at times, it seems like?
I think it is just a tad high. But it's, again, we're talking the draft, and if you value a guy, where you value him, by all means, take him. Because what we have to get out of the thought of, we have these perceptions of the draft picks, and sometimes we put the pressure on these players, taking them a little too high.
Yep.
And not letting the tape talk to you. But on the flip side is like if you have a specific role that you want to see out of this guy, and roll the dice. Now, the reason why I say it's a tad high, because of where I'm assuming if they're picking this high, they'll be picking this same range in the second round. There will be a guy or two in the second round. Yeah, that you can put there at the receiver position and hopefully be able to protect Jackson Dart a little bit better. But hey, man, I get it.
get Malik healthy, and then they don't have a real number 2 right now, so they're trying to figure that out. And I figure if this has to turn into Cincinnati where you have T and Jamar, and then the defense is certainly better than the Bengals defense because it couldn't be worse. At least you're giving Jackson a chance, but you do have to protect him as well. Next up, number 6, the Titans, who have since traded down out of number 2, got a couple picks for their troubles. They don't need a quarterback still. What are you doing?
I'm going outside linebacker T.J. Parker from Clemson. And the reason why, because I know everyone's going to say Ruben Bain. I'm sure folks in the comments will say that's why I'm fired. I'm not there. Ruben Bain.
Here we go.
The problem that you're going to have and what Ruben Bain is going to have is when he measures and people see those 30-inch arms, that's going to be a problem for some people.
Fair or not,
that's going to be a problem for some people. And a lot of people like to lean height, weight, speed. And so that's where I think T.J. Parker will be higher on a lot of people's board, a lot higher than people realize when you finally look at Ruben Bain's measurements. So going T.J. Parker, outside linebacker, Clemson for the Fighting Titans.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. And I was shocked in part because it wasn't our guy, Ruben Bain Jr., who's having a fantastic season, no doubt about it. But also because the guy that I took at number 6 on Monday, I'm going to take him at number 7 for the Las Vegas Raiders. And this guy is we talked about him as well. And you can play him anywhere.
Oh, come on, man.
Going back to my guy. You wanted him too, didn't you? I'm going back to Columbus, Ohio.
Man.
The Ohio State University, Arbel Reese, put your Vegas hat on. What? That guy can do a little bit of everything. He's had a fantastic season. He can play off ball. He can play off the edge. Plays much stronger than his 245-ish or whatever he's going to weigh at the combine. Why you sad, Rand?
Let's just keep going, man. I had that couple picks here coming up.
Oh, come on now. You should have called me.
When we get to the pick, you'll understand the vision of it. But there's a word that ends in hole that I want to call you right now, but we'll just.
All right, I won't even try. I tried to say something cute, and the last time I did that, I was trying to remember Daniel Jones' nickname, so I'm not even going to do it. That's what Daniel Jones looked like Sunday against the Steelers. That's a conversation for another time. All right. The sorry Cincinnati Bengals are, man. Oh, I don't know how you lose a game like that, lost that game.
Well, I'm gonna make it simple. You got two of the main culprits that we saw on that game-winning play. And we're talking about a game in which last week that you're talking about, they missed 15 tackles as a team, which is wild.
Impossible.
So
right.
You went back to Columbus, Ohio. I was on the plane with you, so I'm just gonna stay in Columbus, Ohio.
That's right.
And I'm gonna go with my guy.
Yep.
Caleb Downs, safety,
Carthon,
the Ohio State University.
I think a perfect microcosm for the Bengals season, the two safeties running into each other is Colson Loveland sachets into the end zone for 70 yards or whatever it was. What a terrible way to lose. You couldn't even make that up. When people say the NFL is scripted, someone deserves an Oscar for writing that play because that was insane. Yeah, I mean, Caleb Downs feels like a layup if you're the Bengals because, the real winner out of Sunday's game was Lou Anarumo, even though they lost. It wasn't because of the defense. It's because the Bengals roster is not great. All right, next up here. Commanders are on the clock. Man, it just goes to show you, and you know this, Rand, from playing and being in front offices. Injuries are the great equalizer. Like there's and there's nothing you can do about it. And even before Jaden dislocated his non-throwing elbow, they had struggled to keep guys on the field, and Jaden had a knee issue prior to that. So it's just gone sideways right off the cliff for Washington. I'm going to help them defensively, and I'm going to take the guy that probably should have been a top 5 pick, but we'll see what happens when he gets to the combine and gets measured. Ruben Bain Jr., edge rusher out of the U, going to the Commanders. Hey, let me ask you this. What if Ruben just doesn't get measured at any point?
I mean, he could, but when you actually, because you know what's going to happen, it's just he's going to do 30 visits, he's going to do combine visits, And when people, I mean, first of all, he's already been quote unquote body typed for all the scouts that have gone into practice. And I'm sure at some point.
Tell me what body typed is.
Body typing is when you go into the school, you're at practice or you're at a game, and you get to physically see them in person. Okay. And then once you see them in person, you can describe their body structure.
Gotcha.
And how they're built. I like a guy like myself, because you go into certain schools, you go into Ohio State, you have to see 15 guys. They have 15 draftable guys. And so you're trying to sit there and go from drill to drill. It takes too long. So what I would do is I would grab my phone and I would get close enough and then snap a picture. And then, once I get back to the hotel, or if I'm driving with another scout, then now I'll type out my notes based off of what I saw then. But to try to do that in real time as you're moving around, you have so many people to do it, just takes a while.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
But even if he doesn't measure, if you look at his body type, and if it is indeed true that he has 30-inch arms, it's going to show. Like, You don't have to measure a T-Rex to say that a T-Rex has short arms. You just see it. You know what I mean? So, you talk about his play style and what Dan Quinn wants in terms of being violent, full tilt to the whistle, guys that just are running, chasing, and hitting. Like, he fits the mold and the culture that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters want in Washington.
So, right. In that sense, and even if you get him at 9 or 10, you can live with that. And also, at some point, as we get through the process, we'll go back and look at previous drafts where guys were high round picks that didn't work out. We'll try to figure out why, and guys that made it who were top 50 picks. It's a crapshoot, man. This is art, not science. All right. Next up, pick 10, the Baltimore Ravens.
And I'm going to stay at that edge position and go with outside linebacker Keldrick Falk from Auburn.
Yep. Let me ask you this, because I had him going to the Ravens in my mock draft. And is this a continuation of the David Ojabo, Odafe Owe, high-end athlete who hasn't yet reached their potential? And are you at all nervous about that if you're in that draft room?
No, because I think, the two guys that you just named from there, I think Keldrick Falk is a better football player.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I think he's a better football player. And if you know anything about the Baltimore Ravens, they value really good football players. And so I think he fits that mold. He'll continue to develop as a pass rusher, and maybe he never becomes a high-end double-digit sack guy. But they've shown the ability to get guys in other spots and be able to move guys around. And so having him and a Mike Green, as bookend edge guys, that's a pretty good young unit.
Yeah, you got some juice coming off the edge from both sides at that point. All right, let's take a happy birthday striker break here real quick, and we'll come back and make our way through the rest of this mock draft right after this.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No, that is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But thanks to CBS Sports, you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
All right, striker, pick 11. We are up to the Arizona Cardinals. Is that right?
No, the Rams first.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Because I was looking at the Tankathon and I got confused. Yeah, the Rams. That's who I thought it was. Perfect. This couldn't be an easier layup for me. I'm going offensive line here. I'm going Francis Mauigoa, the right tackle out of Miami. They have a couple guys up contract-wise, including Rob Havenstein. So Francis Mauigoa, pack your bags. You're going to the West Coast to the Rams, and this is the pick from the Falcons that allowed them to come back up and get James Pierce Jr., I believe, in the April draft. All right. You okay with that? You shaking your head?
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at my next pick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That ain't a good sign.
No. It's a good problem. It's a first world problem.
Well, there you go. Arizona Cardinals taking a quarterback.
I have quarterback down as their number one need, but there's just not one there at this point in my mind.
Before you answer, let me ask you this. If you need a quarterback next year and you're just some average team, and scheme aside, Tua or Kyler?
Do I have to take one?
Or you can be a player coach and you got to play.
Nah, I mean, if and I'll use Arizona because we're on Arizona as the example. If you're Arizona, you just stay status quo because I don't think it's going to change much. The only problem you have, because I mean, both guys are talented in their own way.
Yeah.
The issue that you have with Tua is like he's so specific in what he can do.
Right.
And then the injury history. And then you have the injury history concern with Kyler, but then I also question the leadership on and off the field. So those are really big questions, and they both come with really high cap numbers. So it's better to, go with the devil,
Yeah, no, that's the truth. And I'm
going to cut you off. And if you're Arizona and you still have Jacoby Brissett under contract for another year, you could just continue to surround him until you can address it the following year. So
no, that's exactly. That was my follow up because Jacoby's actually running the offense. It appears like Drew Petzing likes it run. That's just me on the outside looking in.
No,
all right,
and we talked about it on this show.
Yeah,
just being able to play on time, and it just makes the receivers' jobs easier. So my argument in the face I made was because, like I said, I have quarterback down as a need, but then my next two positions of need for them is tackle and wide receiver.
Okay.
And so you're sitting there, and they've struggled. They have Jonah Williams over at right tackle. So Spencer Fano would be a great fit for them there. But then I also need help at the wide receiver position opposite of Marvin Harrison Jr., and you got homegrown Jordan Tyson sitting there. So then you ask yourself, which guy is going to have a bigger effect on the outcome of games? And so prior to this, because I anticipated Jordan Tyson going earlier, I had Spencer Fano plugged in here at number 12, but I'm going to pull a Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, no.
And I'm going to take the wide receiver, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State.
Love it.
Because, and I say pull a Cincinnati Bengals, they were staring at Jamar Chase and what's my tackle in Detroit from Oregon?
Penei Sewell.
Yeah, they were choosing between both of those guys and chose the guy that can put the ball in the paint, over the guy that can protect it. So I'm going to go with Jordan Tyson there for Arizona at 12.
All right, that makes my job really easy because the Houston Texans are now on the clock, and I had offensive line penciled in for them, interior offensive line, but the beauty of having Spencer Fano, who I like as a tackle, played left tackle, moved to the right side when Caleb Lomu showed up on the scene. There's going to be some questions about arm length with Spencer as well. I think he's as technically sound as any tackle in this class, but if you want to kick him inside, you can do that too. So Spencer Fano, Houston Texans, protect CJ Stroud. Get on with the rest of your day.
All right, so I'll jump right into it. Dallas Cowboys at pick 14. This is where I had Arvell Reese.
Oh, they desperately need him.
And I loved him here because you talked about his versatility and your ability to line him up all over the place. Who does that put you in the mind of?
Mike Parsons?
Hello, somebody. So not calling him Michael Parsons, but the similar type role in a similar type defense that Micah has played in both Dallas and now Green Bay. But I have to pivot, and I had this as a later pick for them, and I'm sticking with this guy being my number one corner. Should be coming back here soon if he has not returned already. And I'm going defensive back Jermod McCoy from Tennessee.
Yep. Good player, and his teammate's a good player. On the opposite side, Colton Hood. And, hopefully we get to see. I mean, he tore his ACL this January, so at the very least, you would imagine by the pre-draft process, he'll be moving around. We'll get a better chance to see who he is and hopefully play before then. All right, Minnesota Vikings. You wouldn't know what to watch over the weekend where they ran up and down the Detroit Lions here, and Aaron Jones found the fountain of youth. But I'm going to help out J.J. McCarthy, who, to his credit, has looked pretty good. I give him a lot of – I'm sure he had time to think about all the things that went wrong when he was injured, hadn't played a lot of football, but he came out slinging it. I'm going to help him out with Jeremiah Love, running back Notre Dame.
That's a good pick.
Help out your young fella. Next up, Carolina Panthers, 16.
16. So this is a really, really tricky one for me. And I say that because I have their number one need being edge, but I also think they need to continue to be able to protect the quarterback up front. And so it comes down between the edge guy and the tackle in terms of what they value most. If this guy's he's going to need a very strong spring to continue to stay in this range. I'll go ahead and throw that out there. But I'm going to roll with Caden Proctor, offensive tackle, Alabama.
Yeah. No, right. All the things you said make sense. He feels like the fit if ... Yeah,
because he's got to have strong spring to finish this out. To stamp his. Now, physically, should he be? Yeah, physically he should be a top 10 pick. But I think there are going to always be some questions and concerns there.
Yep, absolutely. It's funny because I'm trying to think here. Oh, there we go. Okay. He's 20 pounds heavier than J.C. Latham, who you drafted, but J.C. Latham was much more consistent his last season in Alabama, right?
Yeah, and the crazy part, he's 20 pounds heavier than what J.C. used to weigh. J.C.'s now in the 335 range.
Okay.
So when I drafted J.C., I think at the combine he was like 340, between 345 to 348. And he probably played his rookie year between 55. I would say 55 to 60 sometimes. And now he's, learned how to be a pro and had a full NFL offseason. So last I read somewhere that he was in the 330 range, probably mid 330s.
Right.
So, hopefully those guys have been in contact and, JC can help Caden through the spring. But like I said, he's going to have a really good spring to stay in this range.
I cannot agree more. And it's crazy to think because when you see him, you see the way he moves when they use him in those specialty packages, whether it's a receiver or running back or a blocking running back out of the fullback. Guys don't move like that at that size. It's just the consistency playing and play out that you want to see. All right, next up, the Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock here. They have a million defensive backs whose contracts are coming up. But I think I'm going to go offensive line. I don't know if Jawan Taylor's a long-term answer. Got to get Josh Simmons back and get him doing his thing. Hopefully everything's okay with him off the field. I'm going to go with a name I don't know if we've talked about yet, but I watched him a few weeks ago, and I was incredibly impressed. Plays left tackle at Duke. He's probably going to have to gain some weight. I think he plays pretty stout for being we'll see if we have him on the list. That'll be fun. Brian Parker II. But there he is. You can put him to the right side. I think he has the athletic ability to do that. He's different than Graham Barton coming out. Graham we knew was going to move inside. I don't know that Brian Parker has to move inside. And if you want to try him at right tackle, and I think he would be capable of doing that. Is this high? Probably. But we're getting crazy on this mock draft. So Brian Parker II, offensive tackle out of Duke. Pair him with Josh Simmons because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is keeping Patrick Mahomes on his 2 feet.
Okay, I got to make sure. I got to earmark this one. Make sure I watch him.
Yeah.
As soon as we get off.
I can't wait to hear your comments.
Because I'm gonna call you immediately.
That's why I didn't tell you who it was before because I didn't want to hear it.
So where are we at now? Pick 18.
Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears, and I think we're sitting there, and they sort of kind of addressed the edge yesterday, and with the trade for Joe Tryon. So they are older at safety, which I don't think they're going to address it this high at 18. I have defensive line, particularly interior defensive line down as a need. Man, if Caleb Banks would have been healthy and played more consistent this year, would have been, I think, a slam dunk there, and allowed them to get huge and put him next to another former Gator, Javon Dexter Sr. Would have had, some really good size there in the middle. But I'm going to address my next need I have down for them, which is corner, and go with LSU corner Mansour Delaney. I think that'll be a good pick for them, and a Dennis Allen defense who values size, he values length, guys who have instincts, coverage ability, but who are also willing to come up and tackle. So give me Mansour Delaney from LSU.
No, that's a good pick. It's a good pick. All right. You got him, Striker?
Yeah, we're on the Browns now with their second pick, the Jaguars.
Oh, I
pick.
see. That's why you did it that way. Okay, I was confused there for a second. Gotcha. Okay, give me a quick look at the wide receivers. Unfortunately, Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate are gone. As much as I would like to take Denzel Boston here just to stick it to Rand, I won't do that. I am instead going to give Striker a birthday present. I'm going to go with Penn State left guard, Vega Ione. I'm not sure if we talked about him yet either, Rand, but he's
no, we did.
Okay, that dude's clean. Comes in right away, started the offensive line, is in shambles, had injuries, and of course, some guys' contracts can be up. He can play on the right side too if you need to play right guard there, but you got to protect your quarterback and Dylan Sampson, who you traded up for. So Dante Moore. So Dante Moore got you some interior offensive line help with Vega Ione. Next up, my Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, this is where it starts to get spooky. And I say that because I had both Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Love in my pod for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
If you told me that, I wouldn't have drafted either one of them.
So I'm looking down my list here. I know what I have in front of me. Let's look at the corner position. Can you pull up corner for me? All right. Let's go. Crack the knuckles on this one.
Knuckles, Striker. Let's get serious.
Let's go with Avion Terrell.
I'm okay with that.
Here, because you got a guy that can play outside, can play inside. We saw we know what they're older at corner. And you have a young potential star in Joey Porter Jr. You do have Brandon Echols in there at the nickel, but I just think the versatility of Avion Terrell here would be a good pick for defensive coordinator Terrell Austin and Mike T.
Couldn't agree more. That's who I had them taking at this pick a couple days ago. And he's not as big as his brother, A.J. Terrell, the former first-round pick who at Clemson plays for the Falcons now. But he doesn't know that. He's that big. So that he feels like a Steelers corner. All right, we're 20 picks in. Let's take another break here, producer Striker. When we come back, we'll wrap this thing up with picks 21 through 32 right after this.
Only CBS Sports can bring you big time during the heart of Saturday afternoons. It's big time.
It's big time. It's big time. It's big time.
On CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
All righty. Pick 21. The Detroit Lions just got shellacked by the J.J. McCarthy's over the weekend. I'm going to help them out at the edge rush position, and I think I'm higher on this guy than anyone. I'm okay with that. He's unofficially 6'6", 275. He feels like a Dan Campbell-type defensive player, or in this case, a Kelvin Shepard, who is moonwalked in that role as seamlessly as possible following Aaron Glenn as defensive coordinator. I'm going to go with Quincy Rhodes Jr. out of Arkansas. My man gets after it, and he can obviously set the edge because of his size, but he can rush the passer. And the book in him with Aiden Hutchinson makes so much sense not for it to come to life in this fake mock draft. All right, Rand, you are the LA Chargers, who just traded for Trevor Penning to help along the offensive line because they are banged up there. But what are you thinking here for the Jim Harbaughs?
Yeah, man. So I'm just looking at this from a standpoint of where this offensive line has been this season. Just the various offensive line, different units they've had to roll out every week, a ton of injuries. We talk about it. We were talking about it yesterday on the show with Pete Prisco and Kyle Long, where a lot of offensive line coach will tell you, give me tackle bodies. Give me tackle bodies. And when I say tackle bodies, I'm talking about the structure of an offensive tackle, and then they'll put them at guard, wherever, because we talk about it here a lot. in terms of interior pass rush. And what they'll do now is they'll line these defensive tackles up who are athletic, and they'll put them in that 4-eye position and force the guard to have to take a tackle set. Where if you have a pure guard, that is an uncomfortable spot for him because it naturally gives that defender a two-way go. And that forces the guard to have to now redirect. And not a lot of guards can do that. But if you have a tackle who's used to that, it makes it easier for them. So I'm going to address what I have down as their first need. And I'm going to go with offensive lineman, Francis Mauigoa.
Oh, I already took him.
Oh, you already took him?
I took Francis early. I took him.
Oh, you took him for – who did you take him for?
To the Rams at pick 11.
To the Rams. Okay. So scratch that. And now I will pivot and go because I have O-line down. I have D-line down as needs.
Oh, no.
For the Chargers. And I am going to go for the sake of them. And I don't have him down on my list. But I think if they run the process and they are comfortable with the person, I'm going to go with Florida defensive tackle Caleb Banks.
Okay.
For them here. And when I get to my next pick, I'm actually trying to help my next pick by taking Caleb Banks here.
Oh, you give me information. And Caleb, I think, has only played one game this year. And obviously we talked about him over the summer and a ton of potential. The concern is how serious that foot injury is going to be because we had this conversation a few years ago with Johnny Newton coming out of Illinois. He had first-round talent, ended up going in round 2 because he had a fracture. I don't know if it was a Lisfranc or the other one that I can never remember the name of. But either way.
I'll be honest and say I don't love this pick. To be
don't
honest,
say that at the press conference.
I mean, and look, at the end of the day, we could have Stryker scrub this video from the net unless somebody screen grabs it. So I'll just say I don't love this pick for the Chargers, just based off of what Caleb Banks has been 2025.
Yeah.
If this was 2024, I would love this pick because I wouldn't even expect him to be there.
Right.
At 2020 from 2024.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. All right. You made me a little nervous there when you mentioned when you pivoted when I took your guy. I think Francis goes by CC Mauigoa, and you took Caleb Banks. And you tell me because you know what's the defensive lines coach name?
Chris Kasarik. I don't do what I think you're going to do.
I'm going to do it because I want you to tell me how he's going to get the most out of this young man.
I will close this damn computer.
Get your finger ready.
And not finish this draft if you take who I think
over the button on the delete button because I'm going to take my guy Amari Washington out of Oregon and tell me what Chris Kasarik's going to do with Amari Washington, who is as raw comes, but athletically crazy.
Oh, he's going to get him going. And I wish I could do my Chris Kasarik impersonation but it has I don't know if Stryker has a beat button, so we can't do the impression. But there we go.
Yeah, the bars.
This would be a good pick for them. Shout out to their West Coast scout, Crowley Hanlon. I know he watches the show, and he's a Oregon Duck himself.
Oh, good.
I'm sure he would love this pick, and they would walk around doing their little holes. So shout out to my man Crowley and the whole PDX. But yeah, this is a good pick for him.
Awesome. All right, I'll take that as I'll just make that praise for myself because I needed that emotion boost right now. All right, next up here, we are back to the Dallas Cowboys. Jermod McCoy, you had them going at pick 14. At pick 24, I don't know if you can go defense too often for this team, but what are you going to do?
No, I'm going defense, and this is where palms got a little sweaty, and I was ready to quit the drill.
Oh, I didn't take the guy?
You didn't take my guy.
Oh, dang it.
And I love the way this guy plays football. You talk about playing with violence, physicality, and a motor and just has that dog to him. I'm going with edge, Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M.
Oh. Yeah, I think this edge group is going to be an interesting conversation because I have him more day 2 than day 1. But it's all about the flavor of ice cream you're looking for in the scheme you're running and all that. So tell me more about Cassius.
No, man, like I said, he has get off. He can bend. He's got craftiness as a rusher, and he's violent. and he has that dog to him. He plays full tilt. I just love watching him play football. And I was watching some more games before we came on air today, and just the more you watch, like, he has that killer instinct that he can, taste the blood in the water. And I think he just has that dog that this Dallas defense needs. So to be able to add an edge guy like him and a Jamar McCoy, I think will be a good pairing for a draft class.
Right. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to replace Micah Parsons. And it's going to take more than two people. And the reality is, and I was talking to producer Jack about this earlier, even if Micah Parsons is on that Cowboys team right now, their defense will still stink. You need about 4 Micah Parsons to even make that defense average. So maybe Jerry either got it right accidentally or on purpose, but either way, it feels like maybe they'll be okay with all these extra picks. Next up, the Buffalo Bills. Now, they need cornerback help, but I think a more important need for them is off ball. And one of my favorite guys in this class, Georgia linebacker C.J. Allen, because they have a couple guys coming up. Matt Milano's a little long in the tooth. He struggled with injuries. I think C.J. Allen is a dog. And he's going to go higher than 56 or whatever he is on this current list here. So you put him in the middle of that defense and let him do his thing coming downhill. He's actually good in coverage. He has sideline-to-sideline speed, whatever you want to say. C.J. Allen, Georgia, going to the Bills.
Well, good, because now I can go and hopefully this guy hadn't been taken. Hopefully I'm still paying attention properly. What I have corner down as the number one need for Seattle, because I don't see them re-signing Reek Woolen at this point, because he was a part of the conversation for potentially being traded. So I am going to go with Jamar McCoy's brother on the other side of him at the University of Tennessee and take Colton Hood.
It's a good pick. All right, I'm not mad at you. All right, so Colton Hood's off the board. So the Rams are up next, and they took CeCe Malinois. I don't know if he goes by CeCe. I think he does. I'm just going to call him that until I'm corrected.
I'm not calling him.
All right, well, hopefully that's what he goes by instead of me just making up names for him. But they took him at pick 11, so he can play right tackle or right guard. You can play him wherever you want. I think he can play outside, but folks like Rand think he has to move inside. Don't give him a chance. We said that about Fuaga. My dude's balling out in New Orleans. Okay.
No, nobody ever said Fuaga needs to play. I didn't say he needs to play.
Okay. I was just putting that on you because it felt like I could at least win that argument if I did. All right, so cornerback's the need here. I mean, they don't need – I don't think they need edge rushers. I'm going to go with let's go cornerback here, striker, and I'm going to go with a guy who no one's talking about, and maybe he doesn't end up going in the first round, but find someone who plays more physically within the rules. He's not getting DPI calls. In college, they're a little looser with the rules, but I don't think he would get those DPI calls in the league either. You can say right where you are. I'm going to go with San Diego State's Chris Johnson, 6 feet. He's only 180, but like Avion Terrell, he plays like he's 195. He's been a fun watch, and not a lot of folks watching San Diego State, and we can have the conversation about competition or deep speed or whatever. But in terms of sheer dog in his personality, I think he feels like a member of the Rams secondary. So they get offensive line help, they get secondary help. Next up, the Denver Broncos.
So Denver Broncos, I was looking at linebacker. You have Alex Singleton there. You have Justin Stranad. You have Dre Greenlaw, who's kind of been in and out of the lineup with injuries and suspension. And so I thought about going linebacker there, but then I understand what a tight end means in Sean Payton's system. And if you look at his history, whether he was the offensive coordinator at the Giants or when he took over at the Saints, and even going back to his days at the Dallas Cowboys, he had a viable option at the tight end position he could throw to. And I think having that for the young quarterback, Bo Nix, will help them. So I'm going to go tight end Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. It will give you that same flavor, that same style of play that they're getting out of their current tight end. What's the tight end? I'm blanking on names. That's how I know I'm getting old. Used to be
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, Evan Ingram, similar style player. But I think Kenyon Sadiq is a better blocker because I think he cares more and gives better effort. But he is equally athletic. I don't think he is a straight line fast as Evan Ingram was coming out, but this guy's speed is really good as well. So Kenyon Sadiq, Denver Broncos.
Nope, I like it. Next up. Got producer strikers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. And this has always been an easy Kenyon Sadiq pencil in, but obviously Sadiq is now off the board. So you know what I'm going to do for you, striker? You can tell me what you think about this. I'm gonna take a page out of the Rams book. I don't love this pick compared to other people, but other people love him. So I'm gonna be GM and let my scouts sell me on this guy. I do like him. I just wonder if he's a one-trick pony or not. But maybe that's all you need in this offense. Mike Evans has struggled with injuries. He's Hall of Fame career down the stretch. Maybe not. We'll see. But he's not nearly as fast as he was coming out, and he never was a burner, although he won consistently down the field. Chris Brazzell. Go get him, guy, out of Tennessee. You got Emeka Ibuka. Boom, boom, boom. You're shaking your head, Rand. You okay with that?
Yeah, I like the pick. I was actually, when we were first logging on, that's who I was watching. Just going back watching this most recent game, and I'm not going to say it's unfortunate. It's probably wrong of me to say, but that offense doesn't. He's a squint guy. I'll say it that way. You have to squint to see all the routes that he can run. Right, because we thought about the other receiver that came out of there a couple years ago, whether whether he could run routes or not, and I don't think he could. But I think Chris Brazzell, who is taller, and who you would think wouldn't be able to drop his weight and get in and out of breaks, he does so really well, and he's got very unique ball skills to be able to go up and high point the ball. So I actually like the pick.
Okay, I'll take it. You talked me into it. Next up. The mighty New England Patriots, first in their division, New England Patriots, the 7-2 New England Patriots.
So you forced me into taking Cassius Howe at 22. I had him earmarked actually here at 30 for the New England Patriots playing that edge. I think he is everything from a culture standpoint that Mike Vrabel looks for. But I'm going to pivot and go to the off-ball linebacker position because they've kind of had a group of guys there, and Robert Spillane, Christian Ellis, and Dr. Jack Gibbons, Dr. Gibby. They've all been kind of rotating there. And I think getting a young, athletic guy that can run, chase, and hit and cover will really help them. And so I'm going to go with Texas linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. here for the New England Patriots.
All right. No pushback from me. Is he your would he come after Arvell quotation marks linebacker, and then is CJ Allen your number 2, or would Anthony be higher?
No, Anthony's higher for me, and let me pull up my rankings, and I'll give you kind of how I see it. Where we at? Linebacker. So, and I still have to watch some tape. I actually I have Arvell Reese, Anthony Hill Jr., Deontay Lawson. I actually like Whit Weeks a little bit more than CJ Allen.
Okay.
But I gotta watch the 2025 with CJ Allen. My big issue with CJ Allen, specifically off of the summer tape, was the lack of coverage ability and instincts in coverage.
He looked a little better this year, but I'll be interested to hear what you think.
Yeah, because I think he can. I mean, he is. You talk about headbanger boogie, right? Like if he lines you up, I saw him in cross tape watching. I think it was either when I was watching Ty Simpson. I think it was Ty Simpson. I was watching the Bama Georgia game, and he came and rocked this running back, and and he was blitzing and just just full tilt, just headbanger boogie, just ran right through him. But in this league, you got to be able to at least be functional in coverage, and so that's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, I think he's gotten much better. But again, I'll be interested to hear what you think. By the way, just got a text from Lane Kiffin. He also likes Whit Weeks better than CJ Allen because he can hold it over his head that they whipped up on him. All right, pick 31 here. I'll just tell you this. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. In my Monday mock draft that's on the website, if you so care to take a look at it, I threw caution to the wind. I took Denzel Boston here. I'm not going to take Denzel Boston in this case because I know there's some pushback. That's not why, because there's another player that I want to take. But I just want to quickly about Denzel, who you don't think necessarily is as fast as I do. There's a reason DK Metcalf, not because of the length, he just wasn't very twitchy, and his teammate A.J. Brown went in the second round. And goes back to my larger point. Sometimes we overthink it. If we're redrafting, A.J. Brown's definitely a first-round pick. Maybe DK is. Are we overthinking it at all with Denzel?
I don't think so. Because you could watch AJ, and I mean, even our analytics, our R&D department, you saw what he could do with the ball in his hands and run after the catch. And the big thing with DK coming out was, I mean, you saw him a lot vertically,
right?
And so it was the full route tree. And yeah, you knew he was big and he was fast and explosive, but it was like, how is he going to be when he has to stop his feet?
Yep.
On a route and then have to restart. And so I think those were some of the questions on DK.
His free cone was 7 insane, something 7 seconds plus, and that got people a little nervous. But all right, we'll see. Make a note, striker, to circle back on this in 3 years and see where Denzel Boston is. Might be in the Hall of Fame by then, and hopefully I'll be up there.
So you are going Denzel Boston?
No, I just want to get on that on the record.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go another position only because this player's available, and going back to the Oregon Ducks, and this guy transferred from USC. Prior to that, transferred from Wyoming. And the offensive line's in good shape, but I think they could use an upgrade on the interior. And I'm going Emmanuel Pregnon, who plays left guard now, but he can play on the right side. He played right side early in his career before he transferred to USC and then Oregon. There he is. He's way down there, but he ain't going that low. He's going to be a top 50 guy. And as we say, Stoutland University, you're going to get him on his P's and Q's. So, Emmanuel Pregnon, you're cheering because that must mean someone's available that you're happy to still see there.
Yes.
Pick 32, the Super Bowl champion, your Indianapolis Colts.
Wrong, my friend.
Wait, oh no.
That's the Jets pick.
I was caught up in yesterday. I'm living in the past. That's right. The Jets have that pick. The Super Bowl champions have Sauce Gardner now. My bad. Go ahead.
So we've already taken Ty Simpson with the first pick.
Yep.
And we understand that we got to be able to surround him with players. We've committed to building the offensive line. We spent picks on the offensive line in the first round. And we're going to continue to let those guys gel and
Are you taking Denzel Boston?
Cannot. And we're going to address the wide receiver position. We addressed it via the trade deadline because this is the part of the Sauce Gardner trade that I think everybody's so fixated on the picks. But if Adonai Mitchell has his mind right,
that's right.
He's going to be a really good player for them. And so that's why I thought it was a lot for Indy to give up. Not only did you give up 2 first round picks, but you also gave up a guy. I think they took him in the second round.
Yep. And he was angry about it because he thought he was a first round pick.
Yeah. So I am going to give them their much needed slot receiver.
Yes, sir.
That they know they're going to be able to count on. They're going to be able to move him to a variety of places. And he is just going to always be where Ty Simpson expects him to be and be sure-handed with really good ball skills. And I'm going to go with Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, USC.
Yeah, and that's a better fit. Whatever you think about Denzel, his playing style, Mekhi's a much better fit for what they want to do, given all the other things they have there. That's a pretty good mock draft. Thank you for correcting me there, trying to give the Colts that pick. But it feels
so fast, my friend.
It feels like on paper the Jets are already infinitely better. Now you got to get obviously you're just feeling needs, but we don't know what Ty Simpson and Mekhi Lemon are going to look like. But A.D. Mitchell, you talk about, he's a first-round talent, just didn't put it together. We'll see. But to your other point, you don't try to see into the future and get Archquavius in 2 or 3 years. Just take the good player that you can see right now that you can fit into your system. All right. That's it. Happy birthday to Producer Striker. Our post trade deadline mock draft is in the book. 169 days to the NFL draft. Oh, by the way, if you don't mind, if you made it this far, hit the old like button. You can leave a comment and let us know how much who had the better mock draft, me or Rand. And if you want, as always, put some names in the comments of players you want us to evaluate, and we'll try to get to those guys. In the meantime,
How about this before we log off? And this is talking to our faithful viewers. How about this? How about to you guys? Drop in the comments, whoever your favorite team is, tell us what you think those team needs, what their team needs are, and who you would have taken in the instead of criticizing. Instead of criticizing and taking shots, how about you drop in the chat and leave it up for debate what you think your team needs and who you would have taken?
No, that's a good idea. I like that. And look, if you want to do it in all caps and exclamation points, so you can be angry about it as you call us out. But yeah, I like that because it also helps us because, when you're invested in your team, you have an eye on the things that aren't working out quite so well. And
not only that, it creates the conversation with us because, like I said, we like to interact with you guys. We like to be able to bring up some of the comments on there and we can open it up for discussion. So we're going to let you guys lead a little bit here. You tell us who you think, like what players you like for your respective team and what you think your team needs are.
I love it.
Then we'll check the comments. We'll hit back with some and create the discussion.
That's a great idea. And finally, leave a comment and tell Stryker happy birthday. And guess how old he is.
Yeah, drop happy birthdays in the chat for
let him know how old he is.
Stryker.
All right, that's all we got here. Thank you guys for watching and listening, subscribing, leaving comments, all the interaction. We appreciate it. We will see you guys in the next one.